Hello everyone. This hour on Verbling, the next in my pronunciation practice series. We're going to start something new today, keeping the conversation going. We're still looking at intonation, how we use our voice overall, whether it's rising or falling, but this time we'll look at it in terms of what you do when you're reacting to what someone is saying in a conversation, and how to show that you're listening and that you are trying to keep the conversation flowing through your interests. Well, more about that in just a minute. First, a little bit about me. I'm John Eric, your Verbling teacher for this hour. I'm an American teacher from New York, hanging out in Lisbon, Portugal to bring you this class. By the way, here are 3 quick rules to help you participate. Don't forget to turn off, tune in, and open up. That means turn off your microphone when you're not speaking so we can keep the classroom nice and quiet. But tune in to the new words when we are speaking. That way I can give you feedback and correct you. And also, in this case, we're going to be looking at intonation. So you have to put that into practice actively. Finally, open up to your classmates. Relax and have fun. We're all here to learn, and this is a safe and respectful place to practice your English. And that is a little bit about me. So what I'm going to do now, I've got my camera on. Oh, everything's working. What I'm going to do now is give you a copy of the notes. Let me open them first. Hang on just a second here. All right, so let me give you a copy of those in the chat window in case you don't have them. Everything is always in class material on the Verbling page, but if for some reason you don't have it open, I'll give it to you in the chat window here and also inside the Hangout here again. Okay, and there we go. So I'm going to share my screen and you'll be able to see in a second when it connects. Well, I have to wait a second for it to load. So let's get started. While we're waiting, we're going to get started. Hang on just a second here. Keeping the conversation going. Oh, there we go. Maite. Hello, how are you, Maite?
Hello, good morning for me and for you.
I'm just waiting for my page to load. Let's see if it's open now. Yeah, okay, it's open. So you can open that or download it if you like. Actually, don't download it because I'm going to be updating it. But I'm going to try to share my screen as much as possible. So here, you should be able to see the document. Can you see that on screen?
Generic Verbling teacher.
That's it, okay. So I'm going to go down to today's class. I have to update the table of contents. Give me a sec. I'm probably not going to be able to share my screen for too long because it seems to cause problems. But for the moment, it's working. For example, it's telling me to sign in again. I don't know why it's saying that. Okay, so I'm going to go down to class 26. And I'll be putting our exercises in here, class 26, keeping the conversation going. And I'll tell you what page that is in a second. Looks like it's on page 10. Okay, so can I turn off the screen sharing for the moment, since you know where we are on the document? Is that okay, Maite?
Okay.
Yeah? So you know where we are in the document when I paste the exercises there, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay, fine.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we're going to start with, first of all, understanding what we mean by keeping the conversation going. So first of all, when we're taking part in a conversation, now we've been talking about voice intonation so far. So let's start with a little explanation. When we're taking part in a conversation, we often show the current speaker that we are following what they're saying and that we want them to go on. A number of sounds and words and phrases are commonly used to do this, usually with a rising tone. So I'm going to give you an example. You're going to read this, uh, and you'll see in my example here that there's already some arrows to indicate whether it's a rising tone or not. Hold on a second here. Okay, there you go. So you're going to read the conversation, part B, and I want you to listen to how I say those words for part A. I'll read part A, you read part B. And notice the arrows going up after each of those expressions. You can see, right, okay, I see. Okay? Do you see that on page 10?
On page 10.
Yeah.
Class 26.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Then there's a little dialogue there. Do you see it?
yes.
Okay, very good. And Araceli, do you have that open as well? On page, go to page 10 of our notes, please. Okay?
Yes.
Araceli?
Yes, sorry, I was just loading the
Okay,
class.
fine. Okay, no problem. So I'm not gonna share my screen because it seems to be, lately it's been causing problems. So I'll just tell you where we are, or yeah, I'll just do it like that. I think it's easier. What I can do maybe is take a screenshot and show, yeah, let me try to use Paint again, and I'll take a screenshot. Hang on a second here. So what I'll do is I'll put, yeah, let's do it like this. I'll take a quick screenshot and share the screenshot with you, and it's better than nothing, okay? Otherwise, you're just going to be looking at my face the whole time. Who wants that? Okay. So I'll try to update this as we go on. I just took a little screenshot of page 10. If everyone's following along, just go to page 10. Okay. So, Maite, you're going to be reading B, and Araceli and Maite, I want you to listen to my intonation, whether I'm rising or falling, or what kind of rising tone I use to show that I'm interested and that I want to keep the conversation going. Okay, are you ready, Maite?
Yes.
Okay, so person A says, so, how do I make a recording with this? Imagine we're talking about some piece of equipment. And what do you say, Maite? You're person B.
Well, you plug the microphone in this socket in the back. And you make sure that it's switched on and that the battery is working.
Right.
Then you press the play button and the pause button at the same time.
Okay.
And then check that the recording level is okay. You can change it using this dial here.
I see.
And then, when you are ready, you just...
You just what, Maite? You just, oh, who knows? So, what kind of tone was I using to show that I'm following? Rising, falling, or a mixture of rising and falling? For both of you that were listening.
I think it was racing.
Always rising, it was. And the arrows show that. In the homework that I sent you, you'll notice that the arrows are not always accurate. the material is okay, but it's not perfect. Sometimes it's a little bit more complex than the arrows can show. But here it's pretty much the way it shows it. So you've got these 5 things that you can say that'll make you sound like a native speaker. Um, mm-hmm, which is written MMM, right? Okay, and I see. I want to try this one more time, but this time I want to give you a chance to do it. So this time, let's do it like this. Let's have let's switch parts. So Maite, you're going to be reading A. Araceli, you're going to be reading B. Well, okay, let's just try it once first. See how it sounds. Are you ready, Maite?
Yes.
Okay.
So, how do I make a recording with this?
Well, you plug the microphone in the socket in the back.
Uh-huh.
That doesn't say uh-huh. That says mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
And you make sure that it's switched on and that the battery is working.
Sure.
That doesn't say sure. What does it say?
Right.
Not right, but right.
Right.
Good.
Then you press the play button and the pause button at the same time.
Okay.
Good.
And then check that the recording level is okay.
Uh-huh.
You can change it using this dial here.
I see.
I see.
I see.
Good.
And then when you're ready,
You just will never know how to do this because it keeps stopping. I don't know. Okay, very good. So you can see the difference between right and right. If I say right, the conversation's over. I understand. If I say right, my voice indicates that I want to hear more. Is that pretty clear?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, good. As long as you can hear the difference. When these are used with the falling tone, so the same exact expressions, they indicate that we think the speaker has finished, or that we want to take a turn in the conversation ourselves. So let's try this again, but this time I'm going to give you, so this first one was, call this the rising tone here. Let me put this here, rising. The next one we're going to call falling. Whoops. And I'm going to paste in a new short dialogue screen right now, and I'll make a little screenshot as well. Print screen. A little bit tricky to do this. 1 second, and you'll see it on your screen. New, don't save, paste. Okay, now you should see it on your screen as well. Okay, so this time, well, why don't you just continue as we were doing before? So I forgot who was reading what, but this time I want to hear with a falling tone. So I think maybe we ought to switch actually. So why don't you be you were reading A, Maite. So Maite, you're going to read B, and Araceli, you're going to read A. This time I want to hear falling tones so we can hear the difference. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, go for it.
So how do I make a recording with this?
No. Do you see the second?
The following part.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
So that's you.
That's my
you.
turn.
That's you, Maite. Sorry.
Okay, sorry. But make sure you don't move the switch.
Right. What does it do?
It changes the voltage setting.
I see. And what will happen exactly?
Okay, so you can hear the difference between right and right. I want you to say your line again, Maite, the second one.
It's falling.
Yes, yes, yes. Wait a second. Let's read it one more time. I want to just correct something, okay? Try it one more time. Maite, start again. But,
But make sure you don't move the switch.
okay, listen to me. But make sure you don't, I want to hear, don't,
Don't.
there you go. Make sure you don't move this switch. This switch.
But make sure you don't move this switch.
Good, it's much better. Okay, Araceli? Araceli? What's happening? Hello, Araceli?
Right. What does it do?
Okay, right. You really have to fall. Right.
It changed the
Right.
voltage. Sorry.
I think there's a delay between us and Araceli. So Araceli, one more time. Right. What does it do? I want to hear
Right.
the
Right. What does it do?
good.
It changed the voltage setting.
Hang on a second. Maite. Change would be without an S. But there's an S at the end. So that means that there's two syllables.
It changed.
Changes.
Changes.
Don't
Okay.
you remember the David Bowie song? Changes. Turning face to face. Changes. Remember that? You
Yeah.
can't forget it. So it changes the voltage setting. Say again.
It changes the voltage setting.
Good. Araceli? Did you hear Araceli?
No.
Oh, I didn't either. Araceli, one more time. We couldn't hear you. Uh-oh. Maybe we're having connection problems because I can't hear you, Araceli. Oh, she's gone. Okay, maybe she's rejoining.
Uh,
Maybe she's having connection problems. Okay, so continuing on. Some words and phrases are added to positive sentences in order to check that something has been understood. Okay, so basically what we had so far is rising tones to show that you want people to continue. Falling tones to show that either you're taking a turn, basically that's what we showed, or that you've really understood. But we have something new here. Checking that something has been understood. Checking. So that it's been understood or accepting it as true. Usually also with the rising tone. So we've got a couple of new expressions like all right, you know, okay, you see, and right. So maybe what we can do here is put in one more here. I'm going to put it down here below. Okay, and they're often followed by a word. They're often followed by the words and phrases in the first part indicating that I agree. So those words were, oh, they're not really words, interjections. Mm-hmm, right, okay, something like that. So let me do one example of that. Hang on a second here. What should we call this? We're going to call this checking, I guess. We'll call this checking or verifying. Okay, so right below that you'll see checking. and it's actually on the top of page 11. So I'll print the screen, and one second. It's going to be kind of split, but you can see it's basically there on the bottom of 10, top of 11. So it says, okay, so I'm going to do A the first time, Maite. I'll do the rising tones. You're going to be doing B to show that you understand. For example, I phoned Jerry straight away. He's a doctor, you see?
Right, right.
Right, you understand. You're checking. Right. So I thought he'd be able to help. And what did they do here? I'm confused. Wait a second. Do we have two different ones? I think we've got two different examples here. Okay, yeah. Sorry. The first one is one, and then there's a second one, but the material isn't labeled that way. So in the second example below, it says, you're not to touch it, okay?
You are not to touch it. Okay.
And I would say, okay, meaning that I understood. Sorry, that's two different little dialogues there. It's not labeled very well. Sorry about that. Okay, the last point I want to say about keeping the conversation going is that to show interest and to encourage the speaker to continue, we also use short questions. These are called question tags. Did you? Were they? Haven't we? And typically these are used with a rising tone as well. When we use a question tag, we always repeat one verb. So in the sentence, let me see, you did know him. Which verb would I repeat, Maite? You did know him. Which verb would I repeat to create the question tag?
You did know him. Did you know?
Well, you don't have to change the sentence. You don't have to change the sentence. Imagine you're saying this sentence. Maite, you're saying you did know him. We tag, that means we add a question to the end, but we only repeat the first verb. The first verb is, so you do know him, right? So
Yes.
what's the first verb?
You say you did know him.
Okay, fine, yes. So the first verb is did, right?
Did.
In the question tag, you have to change it to the opposite form. So here it's positive. You did know him. So it has to become negative in the question tag. So how would it be? Didn't?
Didn't you?
Didn't you? You did know him, didn't you? And then I would say I did with a falling tone. So those are question tags. And here's an example. Give me a second and I'll get this on screen. One moment. Here's an example of that. I'm going to put here, I'm just going to write question tags below it. One second while it loads. Screen. Okay. And I'll get this on screen again. Okay, there you go. So now you can see it on screen as well. Okay. I'm going to read A. In this case, the question tag is done by the other person because the other person is trying to keep the conversation going. However, there's also a few expressions to show that you're interested. You'll see those as well. So part B is both, person B is between the lines but also inside some of the lines. Okay? So I want you to work on your intonation by reading part B. So I'll say to you, part A, saw Helen today in town. What would you say?
Did you?
Did you? Did has got to be lower. Did you?
Did Did you?
Good. She said she bought the flat.
Uh-huh.
Actually, it's mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have your mouth closed. Though she won't be able to move in until next year.
Won't she?
Okay, good. Maybe even a little more exaggerated. Won't she?
Won't she?
Yeah. No, the problem with other people. The problem with. Oh, wait. No. Some problem with other people moving out.
Right.
Apparently, they're going to. What do you think they're going to do, Maite?
Oh, who knows?
I don't know. Apparently, they're going to go to another planet. I don't know what that. I don't know. I wish they would do that because I want to find out what's happening. Okay, very good. So, did you? Mm-hmm. Won't she? Right. All these things indicate that you want the person to continue. So we're going to add a new skill here, which is using question tags to keep the conversation going, not just those expressions. So that's most of what we need to look at. You can also use the word really, and it has the same basic effect. For example, did you hear there's been another earthquake? Really? Yeah, and a bad one too. So you've got that choice. All right. So I'm going to put a conversation on screen. We're going to do our first exercise. I want you to listen to A. I want you to take the part of B in the conversation. You will only hear A's part. Use the falling tone in each case to show that you agree or that you have understood. So that's probably all you're going to be using here is the falling tone. If you think that something else could be used, try it. We'll see. But the directions indicate the falling tone, so maybe that's all that will fit. We'll see. So I'm going to write here exercise 1. Let me copy and paste that. When it's on screen, I'll take a screenshot for everyone else to see. Oops. Give me a second. 1 second. Okay, there we go. Print screen. Let's go to Paint. Okay, so you can more or less see it on screen now as well at home. All you viewers out there in YouTube land.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the first one, the arrow is written in. On the others, it's not. But basically, you're going to be using your judgment about how to answer. Probably a falling tone, but you could try a rising tone and see if it works. Here we go, exercise 1. The coaches leave at 6, all right?
Okay. Okay.
Good. From outside the museum, you know?
Right.
You wanted 2 tickets, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's $50, okay?
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're confirming. It costs more at the weekend, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Because we have to play, I can't read, because we have to pay the driver more, you see?
Uh-huh.
So you really can't use a rising tone here, can you? Probably doesn't sound good anywhere. What do you think?
Sometimes. Right? In the second?
From outside the museum, you know? Right. Eh, because I'm not explaining anything, so I don't think it works. If I was going to go on and explain more, like I said some information, and you wanted me to continue, it would work. But I'm not really doing that. All I'm saying is where the buses leave from. They leave from outside the museum, you know?
Uh-huh.
Oh, right, yeah, I know, right, I know. It's basically what you're saying. I don't know. So maybe you're right. If you say right, you wanted to take it. I think for here it's got to be a falling tone, basically. I don't think it quite works. We'll see. Let me see if we get another example. So, hang on a second here.
Mhm.
Let me just see if I. Hang on one moment here. One moment. Okay, never mind. That exercise is not going to work. I have to try something else. We have a second conversation. Two people are talking about a proposed new road through the countryside. Are the words and phrases in bold said with a falling tone, with a down arrow, or a rising tone with an up arrow, or a rising and a falling tone? So I'll get this on screen. One second. Okay, I'm going to call this exercise 2. And you'll see it in just a second. Problem is that nothing fits on the screen. 1 second here. Sorry. Having trouble getting it on my screen. 1 second. Okay, so you should see it now. I'll print my screen again as well. 1 second, please. New, don't save, paste. Okay, you'll see it there. You should see it there.
Yes.
Okay, good. So, how are we going to do this? Because this one you should really listen to. Let me see if I can just read it to you, or if we can just make an educated guess. 1 second here. Let me see what the best thing to do is. Page 109. Hold on a second. I have to just take a quick look. $178. Okay. 178. Let's see. Okay, no, I think what we'll do is just read through it, and you're going to use your judgment. But in this case, they absolutely will be different answers in almost every case. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. It's what you're supposed to do is listen to this and decide what you're hearing. But I can't really play the recording, and I think that it might be better for us just to use the context to try to figure it out as best we can. There's not a lot of context, but we'll try it. So we're on page 12, and I'll read A, and you try to fill in B. Are you ready?
Yes.
All right. And on my screen, on my computer, I have to take a look at the answers. Okay, fine. Okay, here it goes. So person A says, so it'll go it'll go past those trees, across the footpath,
Yeah.
and down across the top of that field.
Right. And who owns that?
Oh, all the fields around here are part of a big farm. Belongs to a farmer who lives in the White House, in that White House.
Right.
You were going to say?
Right.
Ah, but if you give a falling tone, it signals to me that you're going to speak. So if you say right, I'm expecting you to say something. So try it again and try it with a rising tone.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Oh, of course he won't be happy about the plans.
Won't he?
No, I doubt that he'll want to sell any of his land.
Okay. So what will happen then?
What'll?
What'll
Yeah,
what
what'll happen?
what'll happen then?
Try it with a D, like dog. What'll?
What'll
Yeah, what'll happen?
so what'll happen then?
I suppose the council could force him to sell,
Really?
but that wouldn't be popular with the local community.
I see.
Wait a second, is that up or down? It's
What?
was that an up or was that a rising or falling?
Falling.
I see.
I see.
There you go. Okay, it sounds good. I just changed the one where you said right because you said right, which is okay, but in that context, it sounds like you're going to say something, So it, only because it sounds like you're interrupting me, right? I'm waiting for you for what to say. So it sounds pretty good. Notice also when you have words connected, like what will happen then. Of course, we make a contraction, but to make it easier, if you're using American English, the T becomes a D. What'll, like that.
What'll
What'll,
what'll
exactly. What'll happen, and it's joined together as if it's one word. What'll happen? What'll happen? What'll happen? So
what'll happen?
yeah, the H is almost not there. What'll happen? So let's see what we can do. Okay, so that's basically it for the exercises, and we've done a few. Let me see if there's anything else we're going to say. No, that's basically it. So what I want to do is I want to go back. I want to go back to our monologues that we've done, and I want you to take a look at one that you think you could use, and we're going to try it together. But this time, we're going to take turns showing interest and trying to keep the conversation going. So the first thing I need to do, I'm going to stop sharing my screen because we don't need. Oh wait, who's that? Oh, look at that. Someone new is in class and I didn't see them come in. Pro 4, is that right? What is that? Pro 4. What's your name? Your real name? I can't hear you. Say again. Bar? Barack? It's really hard to hear you. It's very, very hard to hear you. Do you have headphones on? Yes? So, listen. Do me a favor. Could you just write your name in the chat window so I know what to call you? Okay, I don't know what's going on. I can't hear what a word he's saying. Okay, so Aristotle is gone. Maite, what I want you to do is take a look at the table of contents.
Okay.
All right. In in most of these classes, we have a monologue that we've taken what we've learned and we've tried to apply it. So what I want you to do is take a look if there's anything that you recognize. So if you go to the table of contents, you'll see, for example,
What page?
the table of contents is on 2 and 3. Okay? And you'll see some of the monologues there. On class 15, there's one by Woody Allen. It says anything else. That's the name of the film. As Good as It Gets. Death of a Salesman. There's one from Bronx Tale, Girl Interrupted. what I'd like you to do is to pick a monologue that you could work on, because the idea of this class is that we learn a skill and then we pick something that's been recorded. So I usually use scenes from films or television. And we take that thing that's been recorded, you try it in class, after class, and then you try to apply what we've learned. And then after class, you work on the monologue and then compare your version to the version on YouTube. Because in each case, there's usually, almost in all of the cases, there's a YouTube clip that you can listen to. But in this case, we're going to work on responding to what you say. So, oh, now I see what your name is. Bara. Okay, I got it. Bara. Hello, Bara. How are you?
Good.
Okay, very good. Make sure that you're wearing headphones like this, okay, so that we hear just your voice, not the whole room, because the connections can be very loud, okay? Also, you should open the document. You'll see the link where you wrote. Click on that link and open that in a new window, and you can follow along. Okay, Bara? I'll take that as a yes. Okay, so Maite,
Yes.
I want you to choose a monologue. It doesn't matter which one, or if you want, I'll help you choose. It's up to you.
It's the same. Mulholland Drive.
Mulholland Drive, okay, good. Where is that? Oh, okay, fine, I got it. Naomi Watts. Did you see the film?
Yes. Many time ago, but I like it.
It's a good film.
Yes.
Hang on a second. Okay, in this case, I think I put each line on a separate, each part of the monologue on a separate line. I hope I didn't mess it up. Hold on a second. Okay, fine. Just ignore the numbers. Maybe it's a bit confusing. So I'll tell you what, I'm going to copy and paste that again and put it in under today's class. Okay, hang on just a second. I'm going to move it up to today's class, which is what, 26? And I'm going to repaste it there at the top of 26. And I'm going to put a little note there that says monologue. Monologue. And I'm just going to get rid of those numbers because for this exercise we don't need any of that. Okay. And Bara, I'm just gonna ask you, when you're not speaking, if you could mute your microphone, because we're getting a lot of noise from the street. Okay? When you are speaking, you can turn it on, of course. Just keep it off when you're not speaking, so we cut down on because we're hearing traffic in the background. Okay. I think we got it. Okay, so Bara, I'm just going to mute your microphone because we're hearing street noise in the background, okay? All right. So keep that off, please, for the moment. Okay, so let's give this a try. I'll also take a quick screenshot so everyone can see. Bara, could you please mute your microphone because we're hearing a lot of street noise, okay? There we go, thanks. Okay. So let's read through this one time, and then you tell me if you can remember this in the film more or less. Let me hear you say it one time normally, okay? Maite?
Yes.
Are you ready?
What I have to do?
Let's read it once.
Exercise one.
No, you said you were going to try the monologue from Mulholland Drive, right? Am I right?
Her real accent, clip one.
Well, wait, hang on a second. Look, I moved it to class 26 and I put it on screen too. So you
Uh,
can see it in front of you right now.
uh,
You
wait a
see it?
minute.
Oh, actually, I'm not sharing my screen. Sorry. Hold on. I'll put it back on screen. My fault.
Here. Thank you.
Now you can see it. And I can't make it any bigger, but if you go to page 11 or whatever it is, 10 or 11, you'll see it there too. Okay? So let's read through it one time just to hear how it sounds. It's actually on the top of page 10 if you want to go there. Let's hear it one time. Are you ready?
The monologue.
Yeah. Let's hear it normally, and then we'll try it as a group using the expressions of interest to try to keep the conversation going. But for first, let's just hear the whole monologue one time. So
Yes.
you read it.
She's letting me stay here while she's working on a movie that's been made in Canada. But I guess you already know that. Well, I couldn't afford a place like this in a million years, unless, of course, I'm discovered and become a movie star. Of course, I'd rather be known as a great actress than a movie star. But sometimes people end up being both. So that is, I guess you'd say, sort of my why I came here. I'm sorry, I'm just so excited to be here. I mean, I just came here from Deep River, Ontario, and now I'm in this dream place. Well, you can imagine how I feel.
Yes, I can.
Sorry.
So, do you remember what part of the film this is?
No,
I think
at
I
all.
th- I think this is when she's like in a taxi with this old couple, and she's like coming from the airport or something like that, or the bus station or something, and she's driving with this old couple. Do you remember she's talking to this old couple and they're just kind of like looking, they're smiling, and there's something kind of creepy about them?
I can't remember this part.
No. Okay,
Sorry.
that doesn't matter. Um, so, what do we know about the girl? Let's just establish a few facts. What do we know about her based on this little monologue?
Uh, she just came in Hollywood.
She just came to Hollywood. Came to.
She's talking about her life.
Uh-huh. What kind of person is she?
What?
What kind what kind of person is she? Do you think?
She, she is an actress,
She's an actress. Okay. Just that?
and she's really going to be a star
Movie star.
movie star.
Right. So, is she a famous actress?
Not at all.
Okay.
Yet.
Yet. Do you think she's going to be a famous actress?
Of course.
Yeah? You think so? I don't think so.
No.
I don't think so. Because she sounds too young and too naive. I think that she doesn't know what's going on. So I have a feeling she's not going to be a very famous movie actress. I think she's just there in Hollywood and she's starstruck. Have you heard that expression?
Mm,
Starstruck?
no.
Starstruck means you see famous people all around you and you feel like you're in a movie yourself. She's starstruck. So she's just excited to be there.
Uh-huh. Starstruck.
Starstruck. Struck means hit, as if you're being hit by the stars, right? So she's almost like dizzy. Okay, um, we're going to try this differently. You're going to be the person in the taxi, and I'm going to be her. I'm going to stop periodically, or you're going to interrupt me, and try to show interest with those expressions. You've got two kinds of expressions. The ones where you're just showing that you're keeping the conversation going, Do you remember what they are?
Uh, I have to speak with these parts well. Of course,
Exactly.
of
Okay.
course.
So we've got mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I'll make a little list there on page 10. What else?
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh. So we've got an open mouth and closed mouth. Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
What else?
Really?
Really? Good.
Okay.
Okay.
Good
Is
more.
what else?
What
What
else?
what else? I see.
I see. I see. I
Okay.
see.
That's it. So you've got those 5. And then we've got a second list, which are basically question tags. So I'll make a little note under there that says tags. You can't see this on your screen, but it's there on the page, on page 10. Hold on. Whoops. First one we're going to call, I don't know, I'll call them expressions, and the second we'll call tags. Okay, and do you recall some of the tags that we've used?
Mm, I'm looking for the page, for this class page.
I'm on page 10 right now.
In page 10.
Yeah,
Sorry.
just underneath the monologue. So, do you recall some of the question tags or how we
And
form?
do you?
Okay, very good. So the first kind is repeating the first verb, and the example could be: Do you? Did he? Were you? Like those kind of expressions, right?
Okay.
And what else? There's another kind of question tag we can use. Do you remember the other one? The other one is not really a question tag, it's just an expression, one that we've used before, actually. So if you don't want to keep saying, did you? Does he? What's an alternative we could use?
Of course.
I don't think we said of course. I think we said just really as a question.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's just those two. So basically we've got 7 things, 7 options here. Expressions, which can be used with a rising or falling tone. Mm-hmm, uh-huh, really, okay, I see. Or mm-hmm, uh-huh, really, okay, I see, as a falling tone. Or question tags, where you repeat the first verb, did you, does he, or did he, and or just replace that with a more simple, really, meaning that you want the person to go on, and that's it. So I want you to alternate with those 2 types of expressions as I take her part. You imagine you're in the taxi riding along with me, and you're showing polite interest. By the way, I'll put this back on screen. Give me a second. I'm going to paste it on screen so you can follow along at home. Okay, so actually you can see all the notes now in one place. Okay, should we give it a shot, Maite?
Mm-hmm.
Sounded very good. Were you practicing? Or
Not at
here we,
all.
here we go. She's letting me stay here while she's working on a movie that's being made in Canada. You
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
Try it like this. A little slower on the second part. Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
Good. Oh, but I guess you already know that. Now here you could confirm if you like. So the first one, let's do it like this. You showed interest. So I'm going to write that on the page. You showed interest in the first one, but look at the information that I give you in the second sentence. But I guess you already know that. So now you have to confirm. So I'll write in
Okay.
Exactly. I'll write in confirm. Right. So let's go through the whole thing now, and then we'll decide what we're really doing after each line. Let me start again. The first two we did, so we know what we're doing, but we'll continue on to the end. And afterwards, try to tell me what kind of what we were trying to achieve at the end of each line. In other words, what was the function that we used. So I'll put the first two on screen that we just did, showing interest and confirming. Okay, once more from the beginning. She's letting me stay here a while she's working on a film that's being made in Canada.
Uh-huh.
Oh, but I guess you already knew that.
Okay.
Okay. I don't know if you should say okay. I think you should
Okay.
say, let's
I
change it.
see.
Yeah, it's better. And let me change I put really in the first list of expressions, but that's actually a mistake. I should have put right. So let me change that. Because if you're confirming, you don't,
Right.
yeah, it sounds better if you say right. Okay, I just fixed it. Well, okay, now let's continue. And at the end, you're going to tell me what was being said or what was the intention of the person who was listening. So we did showing interest and confirming, and we have to see what else comes up based on the information that you hear from me. So to continue, she says, well, I couldn't afford a place like this in a million years, unless, of course, I'm discovered and become a movie star.
Mm. Yeah. Show interest.
Okay? So say the expression you want to say.
Uh-huh. No. Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. Of course, I'd rather be known as a great actress than a movie star. What would you say here?
Show interest. Um, right?
Try it as a confirmation.
Right.
Right. Because you're agreeing, basically. Because she's making a statement, so I think you're agreeing. So if you try with the falling tone, I think it sounds even better. But, you know, sometimes people end up being both. What do you think?
But sometimes people. I think confirmation.
Sounds good. So what would you say?
Okay. Okay.
I don't know if I like okay. Because what do you want to say with okay? Try a different expression. Right idea, confirming, but I don't know if I want to say okay.
I'd going to the, but you know.
Sorry?
Don't you?
Ah, okay, very good. So I'm saying, but you know, sometimes people end up being both. You're confirming. You said, so the subject here is people. People is plural, right, Maite?
Yes.
So it has to be, the pronoun has to be plural, not singular. So it can't be you. It's got to be what?
Do they?
Do they? Okay.
People.
Sometimes people
Okay.
sometimes people end up being both. Okay, are you confirming or are you showing interest here? You said confirming originally, right?
But it's better show interest.
Okay, we'll change it. So we'll say interest. So here's what I'm going to do. Instead of saying do they, I'm going to say they do. Not do they, but they do. You see why I'm changing it? Because if you're showing interest, they do. You're just kind of agreeing. So we don't have to make it a question tag here. Does that make sense?
No, I don't know.
No, but do you understand what I'm saying? Do you see why I'm changing it?
You prefer this?
Well, there's a reason though. Because if you ask it as a question, so take a look on the screen, they do instead of do they. If you say do they, somehow it implies that you're not sure. If you say they do, it shows that you're following the conversation. So here we could just switch it and make it a statement instead of a question. But sometimes people end up being both. If you're agreeing in a polite way, you could say they do, or they do, don't they? You can actually make a little mixture. They do, don't they? So maybe we'll add that one. Don't they? It's a little bit hard to keep printing my screen like this, so there's a little delay. Sorry about that. But there you go. Now you can see it. They do, don't they?
They do.
And then it ends up. So that is, I guess you'd say, sort of why I came here. What would you say there?
I see.
I see. Okay, good. So interest, right?
Yes.
Okay. I'm sorry. I'm just so excited to be here. I mean, I just came here from Deep River, Ontario, and now I'm in this dream place. What would you say there at the very end? Now I'm in this dream place.
Really?
Why?
No.
Okay, let's take a look at everything. I put most of your answers there on the page. Let's take a look at them. Now we have a kind of a map of the conversation. I didn't put everything you said, but I put most of what you said. For example, I forgot what you said in the beginning about showing interest, and I forgot what you said about confirming, but we can add that right now. But we've got kind of a map. So we've actually got a dialogue, not just a monologue. Let's do this. We've got to stop, but before we go, let's switch roles, and let me see if I can use the same ideas that you put there, and I'll try to add in a few expressions, okay? So this time, let's switch roles, and you take the monologue, and I'll be the one reacting. Are you ready?
I read again then.
Let's switch roles, switch parts.
I can understand you.
Let's switch parts. I will be reacting, and I'm going to use the information that you gave me to react to what you're saying in the monologue. Okay, so we're going to switch parts. Clear?
Switch parts.
Switch parts, exactly. So you're going to be reading, and I'll be reacting.
Ah, okay. She's letting me stay here while she's working on a movie that's been made in Canada.
Is she? Keep going.
But I guess you already know that.
Right. That's my confirmation, right.
Right. Well, I couldn't afford a place like this in a million years, unless, of course, I'm discovered and become a movie star. Of course, I'd rather be known as a great actress than a movie star.
I don't want to say right again, so let me change this one to used I see to how that? We'll do that one. Confirmation.
But you know, sometimes people end up being both.
They do, don't they?
So that is, I guess, you say sort of why I came here.
I see.
I'm sorry. I'm just so excited to be here. I mean, I just came here from Deep River, Ontario, and now I'm in this dream place.
Really?
Well, you can imagine how I feel.
Okay. Oh, it sounds pretty good. It's not bad at all. It sounds actually pretty natural. I'll put the final version on screen. Okay, so I added all the expressions we used. What do you think? Does it sound like a real conversation? What do you think, Maite? Does it sound like a real conversation? What do you think?
Uh,
Hello, Maite?
Hello?
Yes. What's so funny?
Yes, yes. Thank you. More or less.
More or less. Actually,
I have to be more natural, but
yeah, you
that's
have to.
right.
Yeah, but you have to practice. That's all. It's just practice. It's just practice. Okay, we've got to stop here. We're a bit over time,
Thank
but
you very much, teacher.
no problem. So, one thing that you can do if you like is you could take this monologue or another one, you can practice it and bring it to the next pronunciation class, and then I can correct you and give you feedback. You can also record it and send it to me, and I can give you feedback on the recording. Okay?
Uh, Thank you very much.
All right. So that's it for now. I'll be back tomorrow for great short stories at the same hour, 10 GMT. Bye for now, Maite. See you next time.
Thank you. See you.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye. Thank you.